In this video I will show you another way to clean cuckoo clock chains, and then we check the movement parts that have come back from the ultrasonic cleaner prior to reassembling the movement in the next episode. Well, it's time to clean the chains that have come out of this cuckoo clock. As you can see, they're pretty rusty, and I would say it's been many years since there's been any hint of brass on that, and I would suggest that's why it's so rusty. Anyway, today I'm going to try a different method of cleaning them. What I have here is a piece of, looks like about 3-inch PVC pipe. I wound the chain around the pipe. I put a bit of masking tape here to hold that end on and pulled it tight all the way round. Another piece of masking tape here to hold it together and squeeze them together. So it now looks like that. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some toothpaste and a brass wire brush, and I'm going to put some toothpaste on the brush. I'm going to scrub it backwards and forwards on the chain. Once it's done, I'll then drop the chain into some water. I'll go over it with a toothbrush to get any toothpaste out from in between the links, and then I'll drop it into some naphtha, run over it with my hot air gun, and we'll see how much of a difference it makes. But it'll be mainly getting rid of a bit of rust. There's virtually no brass plating left on that. We just want to clean it up a bit. Alright, I'll get a little bit of toothpaste happening. Actually, I'll start off by putting a little bit down here on the chain, and then we'll be able to see how far it will go once we start scrubbing backwards and forwards with our brass wire brush. A little bit more. I'll slowly work my way around. A blob there. We'll put a blob up there with together, and I'll just keep working my way around, rubbing relatively heavily with the brass brush. Toothpaste is, of course, a very mild abrasive. That's what cleans your teeth. So what I'm doing is using that mild abrasive and also a brass wire brush to push it onto the individual links and in between them to see if this new method is going to work or not. One last bob of toothpaste, and we've now gone round completely over the chain. I'll just run round, I'll run over it one more time. You can see there's rust and dirt and stuff coming off there onto the PVC pipe. Alright, so now I'll remove the piece of masking tape, unroll the chain. Do we get down to the other end? Take off the other piece of masking tape. There's a fair bit of muck on that, isn't there? Look at the difference when I lift the tape up, how clean the pipe is underneath it. Alright. Now, we don't want the toothpaste to set on the chain, so I've got a container of water here. I'll drop the chain in straight away. We'll start moving it round, agitating it a bit. And in a moment, once it's had a chance to get wet all over, I'll then run over the chain with a toothbrush to clean it. In the meantime, I'll get rid of all this gunk off here. Right, that's looking a bit cleaner now. So, what we're going to do is we'll put the chain back onto our piece of PVC pipe. So find the end of it, and we won't put any masking tape on it this time because everything's wet and it won't bond anyway. Push that across over to there. Put the last couple of loops on. And whoop, and there we have it, lost one end. Fair enough. Well, I'll just put my thumb across that, and then over the top of the water. We'll run over the chain, getting a bit loose there, with the toothbrush, removing any toothpaste that may happen to be in between the links. We're slowly working our way around. Hold those together there so we can clean them up. And moving on a little bit more. We're getting a fair bit of it out. You can see the colour of the water changing. And there's the other end. We've now gone completely round once. So I'll take it off our PVC pipe, give it a quick wash there. Then with a clean piece of cloth, move that aside. With a clean piece of cloth, I'll dry it up a bit. And now I'll put it into some naphtha to get rid of the rest of the water. Right, I've got a dish here with some naphtha in it. Now we'll put our chain in it, undo any knots we've managed to get in it so far, and we'll just swirl it around a little bit, lift it up and down, make sure that it's completely covered with the naphtha to get rid of any water that's still on it. Then pick it up and put it onto a clean piece of cloth. Let that sit there for a moment. I'll pat it up a little bit, and then I'll get our heat gun out now. Right, there's our chain. I'll hold it in my hand. We'll get our hot air gun on low and run over it. Doesn't need very much, because the naphtha evaporates very, very quickly. Alright, so there's our chain. Let's see whether we've cleaned it or not. Yeah, little bits of sparkle here and there, not very much, but a little bit. It obviously worked. We could do it some more, would clean it up a little bit more, but there's definitely no sign of any brass coating on that I could see. Alright, well that's cleaned that up somewhat, got rid of a lot of the rust on it, so I'll have to take the knots out now, and then we'll do the last piece of the operation with this chain once we get it undone. Okay, that's got him, cool. I think I'll just, yep, they're the ends. Alright, the last thing we do with the chain is we get our little piece of cloth that's got some oil in it, just a tiny little amount of oil in it, not very much at all, and we put the chain in the center, wrap the cloth over it, and then very slowly, very hard to see with my black gloves, but you very slowly draw the chain through that piece of cloth with the oil on it, and that will put a very small coating of oil on the chain, which we'll check in a moment once we've covered it and got down to the far end. And the purpose of this tiny little bit of oil is because we've had the chain in water and it's a steel chain. Alright, so put our cloth away, a little bit of oily cloth away, and then we'll pat our chain in a clean cloth to make sure that there's no excess oil on it, though we put very, very little on. Alright, that's looking a little bit shinier, completely devoid of brass coating, but it's looking a little bit shinier. Alright, so that worked out alright, probably no better or no worse than the other ways we've done it, but it's another way to be able to clean your cuckoo clock's brass coated steel chain. The parts have come back from the ultrasonic cleaner. I'll take them out of the dish now and put them on our foam block, and then we'll start to put the movement back together again. Yep, they look alright, fair enough. Put it over there. And a couple of wheels from the going side train. They've come up alright, fair enough. Put them over there. The warning wheel and the fly. from the strike train, put them in their position, right, and the strike side main wheel that hasn't got any plastic on it. You remember I said there was a couple of little marks on the pallets, that side and that side there. So we're going to stone them rather lightly. We will be using a fine India stone and a synthetic ruby degusset stone to remove the slight scoring marks on both the leading and the trailing faces of the pallets.